and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we are going to have a chat with our sheriff. We're going to learn a little bit more about him and also more about what his department does, because they do a lot and I think it will surprise you. My guest is BJ Roberts. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me, Robin. It's a pleasure being here.
It's good to have you, and I can't believe I haven't talked to you before.
Well, probably my fault, but we're going to do a great job today of answering all your questions.
Well, you know, sometimes I stick to the city officials, and you're kind of a state, you're elected by our voters in the city, but you're kind of a state-run department, and it's confusing sometimes to people, I think.
Well, I'm a constitutional officer. Really not state, really not city. I'm almost in between.
Yeah.
It just depends on what I'm doing and if who wants to take me.
Well, let's talk a little bit about you first. How many terms have you been our sheriff now? Because it's been a few.
Yeah, I was first elected in 1992. As you can do the numbers, 24 years as the sheriff of Hampton. And
One
really,
of our longer serving, well, we've had several, actually some of the constitutional officers. Russ Mugler's been around for a while too.
we came in the same year.
Did you?
Absolutely. We've been great friends politically and all the things that go along with that. It's been a good run for us in the sheriff's office. As you well know, I'm responsible for the jail corrections, court security, civil process, transporting inmates. So that's a lot of work for us, and we're glad to be able to do it for the city.
Now, some people who come from other places are confused because counties, generally speaking, only have sheriff's department, but in Virginia, a lot of cities have both. So how are those duties split up?
Well, what happened in some time ago in the state of Virginia, the people had a determination on what kind of law enforcement they wanted. And as you are aware, I'm a city sheriff, so they allowed many of the cities, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Roanoke, and so many others, to be able to split off from the county and be their own determination on what they wanted to do. So what happened with the cities is I'm called the city sheriff. In the county, for instance, in York County, Sheriff Diggs, he does everything that I do, even what the police does, and he's the primary law enforcement. So he's able to do all of it, and I just do the three major things that I've already articulated.
Which it still takes a huge staff. I mean, what you do, your department is pretty good sized, right?
Right. We have positions up to about 200, and I think today we have 185, and with those positions that are not filled. So yeah, it takes a lot. We run 2 jails, one on Pembroke, which is our community corrections area, and the one downtown at 135 is our more secure maximum facility, and we also house females down in that end.
Okay, and you also have some people who do, I don't know the correct term, but who work in work detail, right?
That's correct. Well, we call those individuals workforce, our workforce crews. We also, what they do is go around the city and they do a lot of work in the community. Also, we contract with the waterworks, and we do a lot of their cleanup. We go through the city, and when some things that the city can't do or not able to do in a timely manner, we'll do it for them. And then we have one of our great programs is our work release. And those are folks who come in that the judge have deemed that they can work if they have a job. For example, if they work in the shipyard, they can do their time during the day or night, depends on what shift they're on, and then they can go to work and come back. And in that process, we are able to get the funds that if they need child support or court documents and whatever, we provide that for them.
Now, and I will say, there's this sort of mentality in the country today that we should, lock up people and throw away the key. I don't know that people understand things like that. Like if someone is locked up and they're ordered to pay court restitution to a victim or for child support or for something else, they can't do that. So there's some real reasons that if they're not a threat to society, to allow them to continue to work.
Yeah, it's important for, I think, our community, and we've tried to articulate that, is that a person that's incarcerated for a minimum of time, he's coming back into the community.
Yeah.
He eventually is going to get
And
back in the community.
how do you want him to come back?
That's exactly right. So we have so many programs. I think we have approximately 35 programs that deals eventually with reentry. And reentry is, and that's reentry from our facility back into the community. It's been very, very successful. And I just believe the more information, the more training, the more education, and all the things that go along with that for an individual who is incarcerated to come back in our community, I think he comes back in a better state and a better mind and a better person.
Well, certainly if you keep someone locked up, it's very expensive for the taxpayers. If they are able to come back into the community and contribute and have a job and pay taxes, then they're adding to society, not costing society. People, I think it's a hard thing. So what are some of the programs that you do, or what are some of the trainings that you do to get people ready to come back and be more productive?
Well, as you know, funding is everything, but we've been able to have a lot of the community service people to come in and give that to volunteer. We have probably close to 85 to 100 volunteers.
Oh, wow.
We have spiritual leaders. We have almost every gamut of society that come in. The CSB.
That's the Community Services Board. They work with people with addictions or mental health issues.
Correct. And they come in and they do a great job for us. We have a small program that calls, say, Inside Men Loving Kids, and we give them the chance to have a relationship with their children. So it's many, many programs that we think works. They are very appreciative to be able to, mind you that many of the people who are incarcerated, the highest they've been in school is sometime 8th, 9th grade. So we provide them the ability to get a GED.
And that's huge in terms of getting a job at some point.
Absolutely.
Or, just being functional in society. It really is.
Well, we know, and statistics prove, that a person with just the GED will probably lessen his chances of coming back into the facility. So we believe in the education parts. We have great partnerships with our local colleges and universities. It's amazing what they are willing to do for us. We're online now with the education for the inmates. So it's created a buzz through our community. We have a program called Ready, Set, Go. Our Pembroke site is really what we use that for. We bring in inmates that want to get more education, get some more tutoring, the things that are necessary to provide them with the tools to survive in our community.
And again, that's your less secure. That's for people who are, not necessarily your violent. There's all kinds of different ways that you work with people based on what it is they've done, what their needs are, how they grew up, what their problems were.
That's exactly right. Now at our 135 downtown site is our maximum security and medium. Those are just levels, but we still try to give them some touch with the outside. Most of them will probably get some more time than the people on Pembroke, so it's a challenge. But if they have not had a GED, we still work with them, hoping that if they are sentenced to go to the DOC, Department of Corrections, we send them with their information disk-wise to let them know how far and what they've been doing. So we really want to give them a holistic portion of what it takes to survive when they come back into the real world of our community.
Now, some of the things you've done in Hampton as the sheriff have led you also to some state and national involvement in sheriff's associations as well.
Really, you're right. I think being the sheriff of Hampton has been really, really great for me. it's a dream that I never really dreamed about, but it came about, and I'm really proud to be the sheriff of this great city. But in the meantime, I got involved with some of the elected, the ACA, with the American Corrections Association, and our National Association of National Sheriffs. And I was able to go through the channels and become the president of that great association. So it's been really great. It gave me an opportunity to go to a lot of the states and visit with other sheriffs and see exactly what they were doing to make this thing right. And it's been good for me. And the things we brought back into our community, we learned a lot about the border, all the things that go along on the border, and I was able to visit those places.
Oh, wow.
And visit the people that really have a tough time, without using another word, but fighting crime is a different level than what we are used to in the cities, in the urban areas. So it's been really great, and I really commend the city for allowing me to do the things that I've done nationally, and I've really appreciated it.
Well, it brings some national attention to Hampton, too, so we get a little bit back from that. You said it was, you would never have dreamed you were a sheriff. How did you come to this role? What did you do before, and what made you decide to run?
Well, I started out at PD department in Newport News, and I went to Hampton University. I went over there to finish my education, and I said I'd stay over there for about 2 years until I got the degree, or 3, and it ended up staying almost 20. Moving up the ladder and becoming the chief of police over there and public safety director. And then I thought about, I said, well, maybe it's time for me to move on to something else. And Sheriff Law was retiring at the time, and I thought it would be a good chance to run for sheriff, and that was successful. So as I said, I didn't know where I wanted to be, and my friends say I've always acted as I was the sheriff anyway. So,
but why law enforcement? Like, you started out as a police officer. What brought you? Do you know we're having a little hard time now recruiting people to be sheriff's department, to be police officers. It's not one of the most popular career fields right now. What drove you to that decision?
Well, and many people have asked me that, and it's a tough question, but we had a crossing guard. He wasn't really a crossing, he was a real policeman. And during that time, years ago when I was in elementary in Newport News, he would come and he rode a motorcycle and he would cross us. It was always good to us, and I loved the uniform, and I loved what he was doing. And as I got older, I've always thought of myself as being in the field of law enforcement. So it just kept building and building. I tried other things in my mind, but I ended up being on the police department and then at Hampton University now as the sheriff.
So you're going to stick around for a little while?
Well, yeah, I'm right now I'm campaigning for another term. We'll see how that works out. The citizens think I've done a great job, and hopefully they do, and we'll be successful. It's just some things we have to do. I think our downtown facility really needs to be replaced. So we're working on that. It's a challenge every day to keep that up and keep the inmates safe, and also my staff. But we're working very hard. The city has always been open ears to what we needed, and we've always been provided with them. And we hope we'll be successful in getting the new facility also.
And the new court facility was that took a very long time. And I think it was very hard for the public at different times to understand the need for that enhanced security in today's courtrooms.
The old courtroom was a great challenge for not only my staff, but the judges, the people who come to the court, the attorneys, the jury.
Yeah.
It was a challenge. If you had not been a part of the judiciary system and coming to the court, you wouldn't understand it.
And I think most of us don't want to, you know?
Right.
Close our eyes, close the door. We don't want to go there.
We had to we didn't have the ability to separate the judges from the people coming to the court, the inmates or the jury. All of us had to pass in the same corridors and that thing. But the new court building was built, I think,
you had some say in terms
Oh,
of that
absolutely,
design, a
yes.
lot of say about.
The security of it, and we have great holding cells now. We provide the surveillance over there instead of being at the jail. It lends itself to still some problems because the old court was connected to the jail and it was an easier transition. So now we have to provide a lot more security over there. And one thing I really commend the judges and also the city, we didn't make such a large building that was not usable. Spaces, all our space is usable. And I think that was great for the city. We didn't have to spend as much money as some of the other places that make the circuit court really a lot of space that's not usable. We were very, very attentive to the fact that we really need to make sure that this was a building that provided all the security we needed and the people of the city of Hampton were proud of, and we could get the job done.
Yeah, and it seems like things are going well so far. It's a very nice building, but it is those back corridors and different holding areas, and everything is separate, so that I know one of the examples some of your folks told me is if you have gang members and somebody's testifying against somebody or somebody's had, a fight and you've got different people coming in, you can keep them separate.
Absolutely.
They don't.
Absolutely.
And it makes for a much safer
And
place
maybe
for
I
our
shouldn't
inmates, for our witnesses, for our juries. It's important.
And sometimes we just have to keep families separated.
Well, I hate to go there, but I know that you do from time to time.
Just every now and then.
Well, the other thing I was going to say, and this gets back to the crossing guard and his influence on you as a growing boy. You personally and your department do a great deal of work in the community. So you're providing some of that same mentoring and experience to our younger folks. We
do. We work with our youth of the community. Some of my folk provide, we go into all the schools and they do the lunch buddy programs. We have identity kid programs. We do a great festival every year. I think it's in May at the Carousel Center, and we identify through identification, roughly 250 kids on that facility. Everything is free. Everything is donated to us, and we really appreciate the sponsors of that, and it's been really great. So I have someone that's designed just for the community and also our juveniles and also the students at the schools. So we do, but our prime thing that we really involve ourselves with our seniors. And we have a senior picnic every year. Also, that's in May, latter part of May. We have sometimes 400 to 500 seniors come to it. We go to the senior centers and we visit with them. And we have so many programs that they can become involved with. Mm-hmm. And we also have folk come in and who volunteer to call the seniors every day to check on them. And you'd be surprised the joy that they have to be able to talk to somebody for about 5 or 10 minutes. So all that comes in from the jail, and we really appreciate the community trusting us to do that for them, and we really appreciate that. Well, thank you. I will speak for the community when I say we really appreciate all that you do as well. Well, thank you so much for having me, Ron. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And thank you for watching. I hope you've learned a little bit more about Sheriff Roberts and also what his department does within our community. Thanks for watching.